Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Mr H. Today we're going to be cooking zucchini slice, or as some people call it, zucchini quiche. Now it's a really easy recipe, and you can mix all of the ingredients together in one bowl and you bake it in a single dish in the oven. It's a great meal to have for a snack, or for lunch, or for dinner. You might have it with some salad or some vegetables, and it's pretty good for you as well. So we're going to get straight into it. What you're going to need to do this is you're going to need a large mixing bowl. You're going to need a grater, you're going to need some measuring cups, a sharp knife, make sure you get permission from mum and dad, a fork, alright, and some salt and pepper, and we need some olive oil, we need a cup of cheese, 5 eggs, about 200 grams of diced bacon, 3 medium zucchinis, and 1 small to medium large onion. And you'll also need a cup of self-raising flour. Alrighty, so as I said, really easy. It all goes into one bowl. Now to get started, I'm going to grate the zucchini. So to do that, I'm just going to cut the end off each zucchini. Just because it's got the little hard bit where it used to attach to the plant. We don't need that. Get that out of the way. Alright, so just into the bowl with a box grater. This is called a box grater. It's a bit like a box. Okay, and we want to use the large grating teeth on there. So be very careful with your fingers or your knuckles. You don't want to hurt yourself doing this. And very carefully, we're just going to go backwards and forwards and grate our 3 zucchinis. Alright, that's our 3 zucchinis done. We'll just use the last little bit. A really nice tip, use the other end of the zucchini to hold on to, so it saves your fingers from getting in the way of the grater. Alright, clean that up. Put the rubbish out of the way. Okay, so that's our 3 zucchinis grated and ready to go. The next thing I'm going to do is cut my onion up. Now, I remember from when I was back in high school, my home ec teacher, Mrs Law, she showed me a really nice way to cut onions, and apparently, although I'm not sure, but apparently it helps with the fumes and the juices from making you cry as well. So let's see if it works. So I need to cut my onion in half. And you can actually see I've already pre-peeled it, but I've left the little root ball, the little root bundle on the end, and that's going to come in handy in a moment. So very carefully, we're going to cut our onion in half. Alright, and then to do this, I'm actually going to cut, leaving the ball on, this way I cut down my onion, okay, and then back across this way to cut it up finely. So to do that, I'm going to turn it this way, root ball facing away from me, and very carefully, being careful of my fingers, some nice fine little rows, but not going all the way through. So we're just going to stop before we hit the root ball, all the way through, being very careful. Alright, and you can see I've cut my onion up like that. Alright, and then I'm going to go back the other way. Being very careful with our fingers. Remember, if you're using a sharp knife, make sure you check with mum and dad first. Alright, we go very carefully, nice and fine. And then when you get to about there, I find it easy to turn it over. And you can do the last little bit like that. Turn it back around again. Watch out for your fingers. And there you go. No tears, nice and easy. Let's do the other one. Alrighty, that's our onion chop, so very carefully, I'm going to use my knife just to get all the onion very carefully into the bowl, just like that. You can make a little bit of a mess, as always, making some mess is half the fun. Alrighty, in the bowl, last little bit there, perfect, knife out of the way. Alright, that's our zucchini and our onion. Going to add our 200 grams or so of diced bacon, pop that in there, get it all out. Very good. We've got our cup of shredded cheese, so straight out of the bag from the fridge, cup of shredded cheese. Not mozzarella, might be a bit stringy, but just good old cheddar cheese. Alright, now we'll actually do our flour next, so bring my big dish of flour. Now remember, self-raising flour, we want it to rise. Don't use plain flour, it'll be a bit flat. So self-raising flour, we want a big cup of that. I usually go just over a cup, so just a heaped cup like that. We pour that in. Very good, we get that out of the way. And the last thing, well, the second last thing I'm going to put in is my egg. So I've got 5 eggs, okay? So you want about 5 large eggs. So we're going to crack those. Be careful not to get the shell in there. And this is one of the great things about this dish. You just put it all into one bowl, and at the end you mix it up. So that's 2 eggs. There we go, there's our 5 eggs. I'll just get that out of the way. And just wipe my fingers and wipe that little bit of egg off my chopping board. Alrighty, and a couple of last things. We need some olive oil. So I've got a 1/4 cup, measuring cup, 1/4 cup of olive oil. Pour that in. If you go a little bit over, it doesn't matter. Alright, that's our 1/4 cup of olive oil. And the very last thing is just a little bit of seasoning, some salt and pepper. So just a few nice grinds of salt and a few grinds of pepper, just to season it. Alright, so now we just have to mix it together. I like to use a fork to mix this because it helps to break up the eggs a little bit quicker. And then also as you're mixing it, it helps to move everything or pull everything apart, and it's good for scraping the bottom of the bowl off as well to make sure you get all the flour and all the other ingredients mixed together. So we're just going to mix that up until it all combines and comes together. Alrighty, there we are, all mixed together. Now you can see the consistency of that. It holds together really well, but it's slightly wet, okay? If it's too wet, you can add a little bit more flour. If it's too dry, just add a little bit of water. If it's really dry, because you've used extra flour or you've got some bigger zucchinis, you can add another egg and that'll help hold it together. But usually a little bit of water will do the trick. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is we need to put it in our baking dish. So I've got a nice big baking dish, and you can see I've lined it with some baking paper. Now you don't have to use the baking paper, but I find it's the easiest way to get it out at the end, and that way it makes sure it doesn't stick to the side of your baking dish. If you don't want to use the paper, just get a little bit of butter and grease the inside of the dish so it doesn't stick. Alright, here we go. So let's pour this in. So we're just going to let it all run in, just like that. Alright, and I'll just get the last bit out using our fork. There we go, that'll do. Put that aside. Alright, and then just using my fork, I'm just going to spread it around, push it into the corners, being careful not to break or tear the baking paper. Push it into the corners, just like that. And we want to flatten it out, make it nice and smooth and even, so that way it cooks evenly. Alright, there we go. So, now that's ready to go into our oven. So I'll take it over to the oven and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alrighty, so we're over here at the oven, and I've preheated this oven to 180 degrees. So I did that before I started putting this all together, and that way it'll make sure it's nice and hot for when you need it. As with anything in the kitchen, please make sure you have permission from your mum and dad before you do this. As you know, ovens can get very hot, and you need to be extra careful. So, very carefully, I'm going to open the door, okay, and I've got the middle rack in the middle of the oven, okay, and I'm just going to very carefully, without touching the oven, slide it in. Alright, there we go. Shut the door, and we're going to leave it there to cook for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to come back and check it part way through and show you how to check if it's ready. Alrighty, it's been a little while since our zucchini slice has been in the oven, and we're just going to check to see if it's ready. So, it won't be just yet, but I'm going to show you how to check it. So, I've got a little skewer. So this is a metal skewer. If you don't have any skewers, you can use a wooden barbecue skewer as well, or a bamboo one, but we're going to use this. So, first thing I need to do is get my oven mitts on, because this is going to be hot, okay? So I'll open the door, okay, and very carefully, now it depends on your oven, but you should be able to slide the whole tray out part of the way, okay, and then it will stop. You can't slide it out anymore, so please be careful. Just make sure we can see it. Alright, I'll grab my skewer. Now we're just going to poke it in and then pull it out and see if anything sticks to the skewer. Poke it in, pull it out. Now I can see, and you might be able to, I'm not sure, but there's a little bit still stuck to the end there. So that means it's not ready, and you can see that it's starting to rise. So it's definitely cooking, all is good, but it's not golden and brown yet. So with that and the colour, she's not ready. We'll put it back in the oven, And we'll give it a little bit longer, and then we'll come back when it's done. Alright, it's been just over an hour since our zucchini slice has been in the oven, and it's looking really great, lovely and golden brown. So we'll grab our oven mitts again. Okay, open the door, very carefully sliding it out, make sure we don't burn ourselves. Alrighty, and I'll get my skewer just to double check. Put it in. Lovely, nothing sticking to that, so that's good and ready to go. Now very carefully with your oven mitts, and you might want to get an adult to help you if you think you need it. Okay, we're going to grab the baking tray very carefully. I'll just show you, lovely and golden brown, look at that. Okay, and then we're going to just walk over here, I'm going to put it on my stove, let it cool, shut the oven, turn it off. I'll let it cool down for about 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll show you how we're going to cut it up. Alrighty, so I've let the quiche cool down for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we're all ready to cut it up and serve it up. So, first of all, we're going to take it out very carefully, just in case it's still hot. Grab the baking paper, and we're just going to carefully lift it out. Look at that. Alright, so it's still going to be hot, so be careful. We'll just fold our baking paper back. Alright, we're going to cut it into some rows. So, just move this out of the way. Alright, I'm going to cut it into like fingers, like for a snack. So you can wrap it up and take it to school for a healthy snack. So we're going to cut across here. Watch out for our fingers. Cutting that way. Just make sure it cuts all the way through. We're going to cut another row this way, just like that, all the way through. I'll slide this back. Okay, I'm going to cut it into thirds, like that. Put it onto the plate, like that. I'll do another row into thirds, just like that. And we'll leave the last one whole like that, stick it on top. Alrighty, so there's our zucchini slice. It's a lovely little snack that you can have. Take it to school, afternoon tea when you get home, or you can cook it up for lunch or dinner, serve it with salad or some veggies, and it's really good for you as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.